Accept your death.
Alright, Bonehawks, this video is all about Shujinko, and today I'm going to be ranking all of his stealings from best to worst, or worst to best, depending on how you want to kind of read it, I suppose. So if you're unfamiliar, if you want to go mess around and maybe Shujinko's been underwhelming to you, maybe you go try out some of the top tier steals, and then you'll kind of see what we're talking about. But I'm not going to go over in detail every steal here because that would take forever, I feel. But there are a few that I think need context. So I'm ready with my Mortal Kombat 1, kind of off to the side here. So I want to go over, starting with the character that you saw on screen there for a second, Shang Tsung. So to some extent, all of these steals will vary depending on the character. And I believe that Shang is probably one of the few that varies the most. So I kind of have him in his own tier. Sometimes he's really, really good. Other times he's really, really bad. Like I know Mike Metroid screams about it all the time. Like, what is this cameo steal? What am I supposed to... What is Johnny Cage supposed to do with that? And I don't disagree. I don't know what Johnny Cage would do with that. But with Quan, for example, he gets a full combo punish full screen off of his standing 4 into the up skulls. So that's a pretty good tool. Damage isn't great. I think you get 280 or something. Let's try if I can hit a BNB-ish combo. Oh, embarrassing. Yeah, so 289. Generally, if he can hit over 400, that's like a good combo steal for Quan. But in this case, it's not really there. He also has the ability to steal the opponent's cameo, but then you're kind of in like a Shang situation where you have to like understand how that cameo works with your character, so there's a little extra effort there. But I think one of the main things I do like this steal is just because of this right here. Like, this is good block damage, good meter build, just a really good solid tool. Those 3 fireballs, you don't have to do 3. I think it's Shang, you can stagger them. I think that's kind of cool. But for the most part, if you're going to use half of the bar, I would just use all 3. So yeah, so there we go. There's Shang Tsung, probably the most variable cameo steal for Shujinko. So next here we have Ashrah, and Ashrah's pretty good. Very, very basic. Just steals a launcher, steals 2 projectiles. The one thing about her one projectile, it being plus on block, but if she knows and she's ready for it, she can hit Shujinko out of it, because it is quite slow. But if they're not ready for that, that might be pretty good block damage for you. But again, they have to be aware that they're able to do that. Most Ashrahs I fight are not super familiar with that. The low projectile that Shujinko steals is a little bit tighter, but still can be poked out of. You just have to be a little bit more like on the ball with it, kind of a thing. But other than that, see, that was pretty fast. I was reacting pretty fast, still got hit. So it was a decent cameo steals. Baraka is pretty straightforward. I'd say he's very good. He gives a decent launcher, he gives you a safe overhead, and the overhead doesn't combo or anything, but it can add, well, it can add a little bit of tick damage, I guess. And then you get his Blade Spark as well, which is a super fast projectile. Works surprisingly well as a wake-up, even though most of Shujinko's wake-ups are supposed to, like the down-forward cameo are supposed to be his wake-ups, but they don't always work that well, especially some of the slower ones, but that is one that I use quite often as a wake-up attack. And it's also really good to follow up your character's projectile if you're zoning. So throw your projectile, they block it, because the Blade Spark's so fast, it tends to catch them pretty fast. So other than that, pretty straightforward. So Cyrax is probably on the better, pretty close on the tier between better and best. There's a couple reasons that I think this. One is we kind of give her a taste of her own medicine with just laying the bombs down, and the bombs don't go away on hit or whatever, so we kind of just be annoying to her the way that she can be annoying to us. We have 2 launchers. This one, and any launcher that stuns, that's a good one for Shujinko, because you can do all sorts of things, like you just saw me do. Boom, boom. Set up a couple portals if you want, or you can just set up Shujinko to come out and charge again. And then this one's a little weird. The gravity is not the greatest on it, so it's kind of hard to get consistent combos, but the damage is there. I'm just not really sure why you would use that over this. I will say that the upwards one recovers a lot quicker, which may lead to different combo pathing depending on your character. Like, I can move almost right away as soon as meter in the air. But again, lots of gravity, so that kind of sucks. But overall, a super solid cameo and really fun to come up with different traps with the characters. Ermac is fucked. Ermac is top 2 cameo steal for Shujinko. Like, this used to be my go-to to be like, okay, how good is this character with Shujinko? If you can do stuff against Ermac, then, I mean, yeah, that character is... If you can't do anything against Ermac, then that character just doesn't mesh with Shujinko. So he steals the little leg grab thing, which costs Ermac 2 bars to use. And we just get it for a cameo meter, which is pretty crazy. And then he also takes the lift as well. Just sits them there, so you can kind of do whatever you want. Set up a bone dome there, get Shujinko charging out. He steals the cancel, but it costs us a bar of meter to use it, so I don't really think it's that useful. And the last thing that he gives us, which is pretty crazy honestly, is the little energy shield, so that we can take damage to our meter instead of our health. So that comes in really clutch at the end of rounds and stuff like that, assuming that you have Shujinko available. So this is like my bar, or was my bar. My new bar we'll see in a little bit here, but yeah, that's kind of my go-to starter for Shujinko character synergy. So Geras is also in the OMG best. Probably closer to the bottom of it though when I think of the other characters that are in this tier. Obviously the time stop is a super duper fun thing to do with any character. Giving any character in the game time stop is actually crazy. But I didn't realize he actually has 2 launchers until recently. This is me being a bad Shujinko guy. So I believe because Conan has such a far-reaching standing 1, this is actually what I saw. I can't remember who posted it, but you can actually combo off of the denial move here. I can only do it in the corner with Quan because that's kind of, you know, I don't have the reach, and this has a little bit of pushback mid-screen. But for 2 bars of Shujinko meter is actually pretty good. So that's not optimized, but 418 meterless for Quan is pretty good, and you're probably going to get a big chunk of Shujinko charge back there in the meantime. So yeah, that's something I knew just found out recently, so play around with that if you want. But yeah, time stop combos, again, I don't think it's optimized, but I think it's actually forward 4 you want to use there. And then into the crumple, into whatever your ender is. So yeah, Geras is a super duper good steal for Shujinko. So this next one got messed up with that last patch, and that's Ghostface. Holy cow, this is broken. Like, this is actually nuts. Like, you have Shujinko who comes out, goes into an ambush mode, and can do a low combo starter that stuns them for freaking ever. Like, look how long they're stuck here for. And it's not until he finishes staggering back that ends. So you can do all sorts of ridiculousness with this. Like, you can do overhead low. Just make sure that the low hits last, and if you're fighting against this, that's how you can counteract this, because sometimes if the low hits first and the overhead hits, it'll restart the combo sometimes. So yeah, this is absolutely busted. And on top of that, he has a secondary one, which is this right there. So huge damage, and say you want to block that. No, it's +5 on block. Too bad, a +5 on block combo extending. That's actually the craziest thing in the game, that these 2 things exist on the same character. And say you don't quite build back enough Shujinko meter for the full... his half bar steal just gives you a quick little low, so you still get some sort of crazy fun to blockable. It's actually crazy. Knife toss on top of all of that. He can hold or cancel. Didn't need that on top of everything else that he has, so... yeah, this is Shujinko's best steal, and it's not even close. Not even close. So Havok is on the better side of the cameos. He's one that's not really too... don't have to explain too much with him. Torso spin being +4 on block is really, really good. Good chip damage and plus frames. I use that more than anything else in that matchup. And then he gets a launcher and his kind of slow-moving projectile, so... Pretty straightforward stuff. Homelander is definitely in the best tier, mainly because, similar to Ghostface, he gives Shujinko kind of like an an ambush, like I can move around freely here. It's not a mix-up ambush per se, unless your character has some sort of a mix-up, but it basically makes everything that your character do safe, or at least the illusion of it. You know, you want to cover a gap in your string. Shujinko's got you there. You want to make something unsafe safe. Shujinko's got you there. As you can see, he also has that flying forward launcher, and you get 2 eye lasers as well, the high and the mid. So just so much utility, but that float is probably what makes him as strong as he is in this. And it combos too, so if you want to just use it as a combo, really, really decent damage. Scaling is amazing on that seal. 440 damage, like I said. If Quan can break 400 damage, that's that's top tier for him. Johnny Cage is in the better status. He steals the throw and shade, which is more of a meme than an actual move. I don't hit that one very often. It does catch someone if someone tries to poke a little bit too late. And then the upwards rising star. Shadow kick is really good wake up and reversal, and then nut punch, which I think is +6 on hit. But it is quite unsafe on block, so don't just throw that one out. So pretty straightforward. Kenshi's an interesting one. I'm going to put him in the best for sure, but he takes a lot of effort because you basically need to know how Sento works and how to create stuff with Sento. One tip I will give you, because I used to do this steal, and I was waiting for like Sindel, for example, here to recover from her like summon animation, but you can actually get Sento attacking before your character does. And if you combo from the Shujinko punch, you can get your Sento 2-2 out before Kenshi can actually do anything. Like you see there, the Sento did 2-2 before Sindel recovered. So this was something that I found out, I wish I knew a lot sooner. I'm still not proficient really with Sento as much as I would like to be. But stealing Sento is actually disgusting. And then he has some other cool stuff too, like he does the run, and then he has the push that he can do. Is it downwards? You can charge that for plus frames, but if Kenshi's just letting you do that in his face. Mind you, there's always a guess on when you're going to let it go. And then rising combo stars. So just a really solid kit overall. And if you can learn how to use Sento, it's actually pretty busted. Kitana is in the better tier for sure. Really good cameo steal with the rising fan, and then the 3 little kicks that Shujinko does catches a lot of Kitana's jumping, like a lot of them. And sometimes he'll even block a fan as well. And then you just have the regular fan toss as well, just to keep you safe. That's what Shujinko does. He has 1 move from every character that's safe. That's -7. So 6 frame moves could technically, but they'll probably hit Shujinko before they'll hit your character, so you don't really have to worry about it. Kung Lao as well is up in the better tier, probably a little bit higher than Kitana. These aren't necessarily ordered, just for my own little thing. Steals the hat toss, the invincible kind of wall, little spin wall that Kung Lao does, and then 2 launchers, a little crumple launcher and the upwards kick. You can't use 2 crumples in the same one, so if you use Kung Lao's crumple, you can't use Shujinko's crumple afterwards. It'll just knock them down. I tried it already, that was the first thing I thought of. Li Mei is probably a good steal. The quick reversal that you steal from her, safe on block, then a basic projectile steal, projectile launcher, and then the lamp, which basically would kind of saves you from her instant air dive kick thing, which is super annoying, but is it worth a full cameo bar? I don't really know about that. So, yeah, it's good. It's not Shang, but it's good. Liu Kang, definitely a better steal. A safe low projectile for sure. Again, probably somewhere in the middle here. And then just a regular... Shujinko's got those crispy instant airs that Liu Kang does. And then 2 launchers depending on whether you're in the corner or whether you're mid-screen. The blue flame does quite a bit more damage. Scaling is really nice on that. Yeah, good steal. Mileena, definitely a good steal. Probably on the lower end of better though, if I'm being honest. Because like Liu Kang, you get a low projectile, but it's unsafe on block. It's -16, I believe. And then if you want your safety, you have to do the straight side. Now, both of those go farther than Mileena's does. They go full screen, whereas Mileena's only goes half screen. So there's that. Nitara, is actually pretty good. You know, a little slept on, I think, as far as the steal goes for a couple reasons. So even though, like Nitara, the half spit is a high, if you do it off of his mid, it jails, so that it turns it into a mid as well. So you don't really have to worry about that as much. They can still duck both if you do it off the punch, so keep that in mind. So yeah, he gets to turn Nitara's little armored move, which isn't armored for us, sadly. It's our safe on block move, by the way, -7, into a mid. Also about one of the things I like the most in this matchup is that we can steal the blood sacrifice. This is huge. Like, you get to steal health. Any character can steal health from Nitara. I love that. That's great. I probably use this more than his actual combo starters, because they're kind of janky. They do give 2 different combo paths, though, depending on your character. Because you can either do just the half one, or do this one, and this one. And if Shujinko actually goes over Nitara, I've hit so many people with having Shujinko come back on the second one. They block that, then they get hit by the second one coming back. It's actually really, really good, and really, really strong in my opinion. But blood sacrifice in and of itself, such a good move to use. So moving on now to Noob Sailboat. He is also a OMG best tier steal. 2 combo launchers. With portals you can put different parts of the screen if you want, depending on what your character does. This is really good to catch noob Saibot players if they're like jumping or doing dive kicks. And Shujinko drops them right in front of them. You just combo where your heart's content, whatever your combo may be. And then you get a low safe on block, actually plus on block slide. We are +5 on this, which is unnecessary. And sometimes in the corner we can actually turn it into a combo starter. For half a cameo bar. And with really decent damage too, 383. You know, like I said, 400 being the threshold, so lots of possibilities with the steal. So Omni-Man is probably, I would say, a good steal. Steals all his teleports. I find myself not using all of them, probably to the extent that I should be. But they all have different utilities, safety, plus frames, launchers, and he steals the clap. Good old Shujinko getting the clap from Omni-Man. So those are definitely some good steals. Peacemaker, slightly better, I'd say. With the headbutt actually being projectile immune, so you can straight up counter, like Eagly or the bullets or whatever. Again, I find that myself using that more just because it's hilarious that Shujinko has the helmet on. Quan Chi is definitely up there with the best steals. One of the things that's crazy about the Bone Dome steal is that you can actually use it multiple times in a combo if you're actually able to charge Shujinko back. Yeah, so just like that, because we were able to charge Shujinko back and we got a little restand, we're able to use the Bone Dome twice to combo in one. So that's pretty good. Stealing Sky Drop is pretty good, but that's unsafe on blocks, so just be careful. And then your safety is the skull. So not the fanciest, but man, that Bone Dome steal is something else. Raiden's pretty good, probably lower range of the better. He gives us a mix-up with the low teleport. I will say that's our combo launcher, and it is quite wonky to combo with. The combo pathing seems to be different than most of my options, so make sure that you know what your specific combo off of that is with your character. And then stealing the charged orbs is really good, and stealing electric fly as our safe move is also really good. So definitely one of our better steals. Rain is probably a little bit higher up there because of the utility of the little trap that he does. That was an addition that Shujinko didn't originally have. Quan Chi probably benefits from that a little bit more than some other characters. So this move hits almost full screen, not quite, pretty close. But Quan Chi actually can just combo from it, similar to Shang with the standing 4 into it. So he's a little bit privileged with that move. Although the scaling isn't as good as the second combo steal, which is like the upwards beam. That one has a little bit more gravity to it and a little bit weirder bounce. I tend to use that one more in the corner. And for consistency's sake, this one mid-screen for my B&Bs. And he does have a combo. He has a cancel, off of this one, which is our safe move. And again, the cancel will cost you a bar of meter. I think the idea here is just to, if you don't have like a full Shujinko meter, because you can get combos off of this if you're fast enough. I wasn't fast enough there, but... So I think the idea is if you don't have a full Shujinko bar, it'll give you a way to combo anyways by spending one of your own meters. That's the only real reason I could see for it costing me a bar of my super meter to cancel Shujinko. And again, the combos for this are kind of wonky. But yeah, that's Rain. Reiko is definitely in the better steals department. Giving characters tick throws against him is actually crazy. He's probably in the higher end of this, to be honest. Probably maybe right about, maybe just above Kung Lao. So yes, having every character have a tick throw and then the throwing stars is amazing. His parry has never really worked that well for me. It's worked better at the start of the game. Shujinko was actually behind your character. So if you tried to parry your opponent, Reiko would just straight up slap your character and Shujinko would just whiff. They seems to fix that. He comes out in front of you now. And then he's also got his tactical takedown, which Quan Chi doesn't really use, Sektor doesn't really use. Most of my combos have pretty big gravity by the end of the combo, so I couldn't even really find a way to use it for an ender, but I'm sure some characters that have restands probably can use some sort of it there. The problem is the crumple will usually leave them airborne, so unless you're doing that right at the start of the combo, then yeah, your gravity might run out. I don't find that move particularly useful. Reptile's pretty good, probably on the mid-ish level of the better. We get the force balls, we get the safe spit, we get some acid balls, and then we get the dash, which is I've been using as like the main kind of combo starter. So not really much to go over there. A couple different launchers. Having the force ball be different speeds is really nice, because Reptile can really use that against us in the neutral, and we can just counterbalance it back. Scorpion is on the better side for sure, because again, giving us a restand is super duper strong. So yeah, something like that is super duper good. And another thing that's really nice with Shujinko, if Scorpion whiffs his spear, Shujinko can actually punish him with his own spear. So that's really good. And then again, Quan Chi with Quan Chi privilege, if Quan Chi blocks the spear, standing 4 spear combos from full screen. So that's insanely good. And then he also steals the kind of teleport. +9 on hit, +2 on block, so that's kind of nice, although it is a high, so you got to be aware of that. But yeah, all in all, just some really good steals against Scorpion. Sektor is pretty straightforward, probably in the lower of the better tiers. You get a projectile. You also get her safe on block flamethrower, so that's really nice at -7. And then just a regular teleport launcher. She also has her anti-air launcher as well, but the spacing that Shujinko goes is really, really weird, and seems to vary my combos a lot depending on which character I'm using, so I'm not really a huge fan of that. I've used it a couple times, but I prefer it when I'm actually using Sektor and I know what combo to use after that, so. General Shao I'll probably put as good, and I'll kind of show you why here. So Shujinko has a low launcher and a overhead launcher, so both can be actually interrupted by General Shao. As soon as he kind of sees it, it's pretty easy to hit confirm. Now, Shujinko does steal the upwards knee, so if you think he's going to try and interrupt that, then like, okay, I guess throw out the knee. It is a bit of a risk though, because that knee is -15. So you're kind of mixing yourself up in this matchup. If your opponent doesn't know that they can interrupt that, you're going to have a heyday, because like, that's +7 on block, then you start getting some mix-ups between the overhead and the low. But this is a pretty low knowledge check, I feel, so I don't like it. So luckily, I haven't found out too many General Shao players that actually know that you can do this, or they have trouble reacting. You don't have to do it off the Shujinko punch or whatever too. You can also do it off of just regular moves to try and mix that up and lower that gap a bit. I just find adding... I always try to do a move into it because I know it'll combo if something hits, but you could do something like this, for example, and then overhead low. Still interruptible, but now you kind of added a layer of mix on there, so it's going to kind of keep you a little safer. Sindel is definitely a better steal, probably somewhere here-ish. Yeah, maybe the Liar. Because anytime that you can steal an overhead move, that's really good. It is unsafe on blocks, so you have to be careful about that. But there's a lot of utility with Shujinko as well, because he can steal the hair flip, the low hair flip, and you got the low and overhead, so you got things like this. Oh, that's pretty reactable. And then also has some utility, and he goes all sass. You can tell your opponent's cameo to get out of here. Put them on the same cooldown that Sindel can do, so that's pretty fun. I just love that him and Shujinko with his hand on his hip, like, get out of here. Sassy boy, you know? So here's an interesting one, Smoke. I actually have him in the better tiers, kind of a little bit on the lower side, for a couple of reasons. One reason is he has one steal that I don't find very useful at all. That's that one right there. Maybe with like his new air cancel stuff, that might be able to catch him out of that. So all in all, though, I kind of think that's kind of a useless move, but maybe I just haven't been using it properly. We do have this move here, which has amazing tracking. I've hit smokes out of their teleports because Shujinko has corrected to the other side. Like, the tracking on that is actually insane. And then our big steal is going invisible, which invisibility in any fighting game is always good. But what a lot of people still don't know, and are still learning, is that his invisibility is actually his combo launcher. So as long as you combo off the APEP punch or the Conquest kick, you can actually, as long as you use a fast enough move, still combo with your character. And pretty decent scaling too. It is hard because you can't see your character like reacting, so you have to kind of know the feel. See, I missed it right there. Of when your character can actually attack again. So as Quan, I haven't really used this that much outside of that because it is a good utility otherwise. Like I said, I can go something like this. Now I'm mixing you invisibly, you know. Ooh. Yeah, like you can still see something, so it's not actually crazy, or that might be. But like a character like, say, Johnny Cage or Sindel, for example, I don't want to fight them when they're invisible. That's ridiculous. So yeah, I think this one varies a lot. From my experience, I'm putting it a little bit on the lower. Man, you know what? Maybe once I think about it more in the grand scheme of things, I'm actually probably going to move that up a little bit. With Quan, I would say it's probably down here, but I'd say in general, probably up here. Yeah, I think I downplayed this one immensely on the podcast last week, so sorry about that. I was put on the spot. It's part of the reason why I wanted to make this. Sub-Zero's fun, definitely kind of in the middle of the steals, I'd say. Being able to combo into Ice Ball is good. He has two actual combo starters because he's got that low puddle as well. And then the slide is probably what I use the most, because it's just catching Sub-Zero's movement with their own move is actually hilarious. And you can throw Shujinko out so you're a little safer. Gotta be careful in the range though, sometimes Sub-Zero can punish you. And then if you want true safety, he has the Ice Clone Toss, which is, I believe, -7 up close. So that's your safety. Don't try and use the slide as your safety. That's not gonna work. Takeda here is actually one of the better steals. I'm actually gonna put him above Geras just because of the pure damage that you can just straight up shit out with this character. It's actually nuts. So he has his actual launcher moves, which do like decent-ish damage. There's that, and then he also has the Rekkas as well if you want to use the Rekkas to combo. But his main juice is with this low explosion. So here's like my mid-screen combo with Quan. Oh, I missed it there. Hold on. And Shujinko comes back when you think he shouldn't come back. So that's a meterless 390. So yeah, you can do Shujinko a lot quicker than you think you can. So kind of use that to your advantage. Let's just show you like a practice mode combo. I have hit these in games before. If you can get Takeda to the corner with Shujinko, I guarantee you they're shit in their boots. Like the shit is in the bottom of their boots, and they're They're feeling it in between their toes, because this is not a fun place to be. So that's 581 damage. Quan should not be able to do that much damage. Meterless is like 570. I just threw in that little 2-bar steal at the end just for show. But yeah, in the corner, this is not a fun time. And there are characters that I play with, like Sindel, can restand and actually use 4 Shujinko combos or 4 Shujinko steals in one combo. It's actually insane. So yeah, that steal is incredible. Mid-screen, in the corner, you have so many different options. And I believe he can actually set the traps as well, and then blow them up. Just so much utility. Top 3. So that's my top 3 right there, is Ghostface, Ermac, and then Takeda for his top steals. And then from that one, we go to a kind of underwhelming finish. Is Tanya. I think she's a good steal. Not overwhelming by any means. 2 launchers, a projectile. That's really about it. She doesn't do anything too crazy, but offers a little bit of utility. But I think that just speaks to how Tanya is in this game. I think at one point I did say that Li Mei is the worst character in the game, and I think I'm actually going to rescind that to be Tanya, because like I have not seen her at all. And like I was annoyed by her forward 2-1 string into like Motaro shot or whatever, and I think that's like all she has. Anyways, that's a topic for a different day. What do you think of my list? If you have any questions about any steals or anything that you haven't been able to make work, just let me know in the comments down below and I can tell you what I think. Because I've been playing this cameo since day 1 and I absolutely love it. It's so much fun. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like because it really helps me out, and subscribe if you haven't, because I make new videos almost every single day. Hashtag Bonehawks, all that stuff, and we'll see all you Bonehawks in the next video.
Accept your death.